Welcome, everyone. This is the Fresh Slate, trying something new here on Heat Ratio Sports. Now that Phillies are done, so we got the brand new banner, and so yeah, we are gonna get right into it. Going to be talking all sports, some NFL, NBA, MLB is going on right now. Shohei Ohtani just hit another RBI double, so he's showing his impact for the Dodgers so far. So, again, welcome to the first episode officially of the Fresh Slate. I am your host, Tyler Mroz. This is a long time coming, so really excited to be doing this. So, let's get it started. NFL Week 6. It's almost done. Still have one game and a half left. Giants and Bengals. It's been a stinker so far, really. We'll get into more of in detail later, but been a stinker of a Sunday night football game. I expected that. I thought it could maybe be a sneaky, decent game, but no, it has been anything but that. But starting off with the Thursday night game, the Niners, they beat the Seahawks 36-24. Niners almost blowing yet another second half lead. Geno Smith did not play great. DK Metcalf was looking frustrated on the sidelines, had that clip go viral where he puts on the headsets and he's yelling at the offensive coordinator. But nonetheless, Niners get it done. They find a way to get to 500. Looked like they were maybe starting to teeter below. I don't know if it's the McCaffrey effect on why the Niners haven't looked as good as they normally have. I would assume that's why. Jordan Mason has been great, but now he's dealing with an injury. So Isaac Guerendo, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but Guerendo, 10 carries, 99 yards. So he's going to be the waiver wire pickup of the week, I'm sure. Niners play the Chiefs, so he's going to get some action, especially if Jordan Mason isn't active. And I'm sure Debo would get some, but Kenneth Walker, not great on the ground, but he still got a touchdown, 8 receptions. He's getting a lot of catches. That's what these Seahawks running backs are doing this year. You saw it with Zach Charbonnet when Kenneth Walker was out for, what was it, a game or two. Charbonnet was getting all the catches. Now, Kenneth Walker leads the team in catches, not yards, but still, for all you fantasy people, Kenneth Walker could be a sneaky good pickup. But Debo gets a 100-yard game, had that long touchdown. That was a really, really good play from Debo. Finally looking back to be normal. George Kittle had 5 catches for 2 touchdowns. Brock Purdy was diamond. I would say he's the player. He was definitely the player of the game for the Niners. You look at his 255, 3 touchdowns. I know his quarterback rating was 90.5. It should have been higher. He was phenomenal. He's just so accurate. It is really hard for him to have a bad game because he's accurate. He makes the right decisions. He's not the greatest quarterback in the league, but he makes all the right decisions and he's accurate as all heck. So, Brandon, you get your act together. You were my second round pick in one league. So get settled with that. London game, 9:30, bright and early. Across the pond, Bears looking like a Super Bowl contending team. Now, spoiler alert for what I'm about to do in a couple minutes. Actually, no, let me do it this way. So we're doing a tier list. We're bringing this back. So after every game that we rank, we are going to rank the teams on the tier list. So Niners, since they won, you get first dibs. I still think the Niners are Super Bowl contenders. Cream of the crop is a Super Bowl contender. Travis territory is Travis Hunter territory. He's probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. I mean, anything could change, but based on the way the Niners have been playing without Christian McCaffrey, with how they've been blowing the leads, I think they're a conference championship contender, but if Christian McCaffrey comes back, I could see them being cream of the crop. But for right now, I am going to leave them in conference champion contenders. Fred Warner continues to be probably one of the best defensive players in the league, for sure the best linebacker. And now that Aiden Hutchinson is out for the season, it's looking like Fred Warner may run away with that Defensive Player of the Year award. So Niners, without McCaffrey, I still have them in conference championship contenders. They just don't win the big games. The game, I should say. They don't win the Super Bowl. They win every other playoff game except for that. And for the Seahawks, where are you at? Of course, it's the two teams all the way over. I still think they could be a wild card team. I don't think they're mid. I still think they are a decent team. I don't foresee them winning more than one playoff game. I could see them winning one. Their defense is really good, but recently they haven't. Last couple games they gave up a bunch of points to the Lions, and now the Niners dropping over 30 on them. So I'm going to have the Seahawks as a wild card team right now. I still believe in Geno, DK, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba is having a great year. And then they have two really good running backs along with a decent defense. So I am going to leave them in the wild card spot. Next game. Now we're going to talk about it. Bears looking like Super Bowl contenders. But spoiler alert, they are not. The Jaguars are just the worst team in the NFL. I know there's the argument that the Browns. No, it is the Jaguars, and they should not be this bad. Trevor Lawrence looks awful. I don't know how much of that's play calling. I think it's a little bit of both of him not playing up to standards, along with the coaching of Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. It's very Carson Wentz-esque of 2020. It's just reminding me. I told my family 3 years ago when Doug Peterson was hired and when Press Taylor was hired that Press Taylor would be the reason that they wouldn't succeed, and he would be the reason that Doug Peterson would eventually get fired. And this offense has really good players. I mean, Travis Etienne left with a hamstring injury, but you look at the receiving corps. Evan Engram, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas, who's arguably been the best rookie wide receiver not named Malik Neighbors. This offense has no creativity whatsoever. Their play calling is so basic, it's bland, it's predictable, and it's a big reason as to why the Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-5, but their defense is just abysmal. I'm at a loss for words. I'm stuttering. I'm stumbling over my own thoughts. Because what is there good to say about the Jags defense? Sure, Josh Hines-Allen is a great edge rusher. Trayvon Walker has looked better. But the rest? No. Ronald Darby, not in his 2017 years with the Eagles. He looks pretty bad. Devin Lloyd, he's somehow still starting at linebacker for them. But it's not looking great for the Jags. I don't think Doug Peterson, and I don't think they're clearing house just yet because they're in London next week. So I think 100% you drop to 1-6 with a loss to the Patriots. I definitely think that Doug Peterson and Press Taylor will both be let go. I just think it's time. Get Trevor someone else. He needs some help instantly. I mean, at what point do you say Trevor Lawrence is a bust? I mean, I wouldn't go that far. He does have a playoff victory under his belt. Didn't play great in that first half, but he played phenomenal in the second half. But after this year, is it safe to say Trevor Lawrence is a bust? But we got David checking in. He said that Bears game was great to watch. It was great. It was good from a Bears perspective. You get to see Caleb Williams, 4 touchdown passes, almost have 5, but it was called back. DeAndre Swift finally looks like he's a competent running back again, 17 carries, 91 yards and a touchdown, and he had 4 catches. So DeAndre Swift is getting it done, but Keenan Allen and Caleb Williams finally started to connect. Allen didn't play he played week 1, but then he was injured. Now he's fully back, and he 5 catches, 2 touchdowns. So looking like Caleb's finally starting to develop some chemistry with him. And yeah, their defense, I mean, it's the Jags, but so you can't really go off of that. But Montez Sweat, great pickup for them last year. I know many people were questioning it because the Bears were not in playoff contention, yet you trade a second-round pick for an edge that's on an expiring contract, but they extended him, and he's been phenomenal for them so far. So Bears, 4-2. They're looking really good. So let's go to the tier list for the Bears. They get first dibs since they won. I do think they are a wild card contending team. They have shown flashes. Caleb Williams, besides Jaden Daniels, has been the best rookie quarterback. But after this game, you could really it's getting interesting. Malik Neighbors has been out for the last 2 weeks, so he's starting to fall out of offensive rookie of the year contention. I'm sure he'll be in it still. But it's between Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels as of right now. And the Bears look good. Their defense is solid. Their offense is pretty decent. Ramadunze has been getting some action. So I do see the Bears as a potential wild card team. Do I think they're going to be this good? Probably not. But do I think they're going to be good enough to where they're going to be in contention for a wild card spot? Yeah, absolutely. They're in a stacked division, and we'll be talking more about their divisional rivals. But for the Jags, they're in Travis territory. I mean, you're probably going to trade Travis Etienne at the trade deadline if you can get some value for him. Maybe Dallas could use him. They have Rico Dowdell and Zeke Elliott. But we'll talk more about the Cowgirls getting smoked by the Detroit Lions today. But we're talking about the Jaguars right now, and they are awful. Unless they fire Doug Peterson, I could see them maybe winning a couple games because their offense is really good. They have the pieces. They just need the right coach. They should hire an offensive coach or bring in at least some kind of offensive mind. I know there was rumors about Bill Belichick. I don't think he's going to do all that, but I think there is a good chance Belichick goes there, especially if they get the number 1 overall pick. Trent Baalke's probably going to be let go. So you have a head coaching vacancy and a GM vacancy. Bill Belichick fits that role perfectly. But the Jaguars are, as of right now, in Travis Hunter territory. But next game. Oh, man. Hold on. The Philadelphia Eagles barely beat the Cleveland Browns 20-16. And I don't care that the Eagles won. This game did not look well at all for Nick Sirianni. He really didn't. The end of the first half, it was 3rd down and 1, and he decides to pass it. I don't know why. Saquon is averaging over 5 yards a carry. I get he had the bonehead play where he stepped out a yard too early, but you pass it on 3rd down? Really? And then Hurts gets sacked, pushing the team back further. So Jake Elliott's going for a 57-yard. It was a 50-something yarder. And then the Browns block it and return it for a touchdown. Not only did, I don't know if it would have mattered, but maybe it would have. Why did you call timeout? I don't get why he called timeout with 26 seconds left. Let the clock run down, or at least let Cleveland burn one of their timeouts. I don't get why he called a timeout there. But and then the Browns block it, return it for a touchdown. So instead of it being 17-3, 13-3 at half, it's a 10-10 game, and the Browns got the ball. So it's close. But Deshaun Watson didn't look awful. He still doesn't look great. I still think they should switch to Jameis Winston. But, the Eagles, he ran it 18 times. Saquon didn't have a great game. He still had impact. But the main story was A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith coming back. A.J., 6 catches, 116 yards, and a touchdown. Smitty, 3 catches, 64 yards, and a touchdown. Huge additions back. You saw them get blown out in Tampa Bay. Without these top 2 guys, Dallas Goedert went down very early in this game. Greg Calcaterra, of all people, stepped up, 4 catches, 67 yards. But this team, I just think they need the right coaches. I still don't believe Kellen Moore is 100% this offensive play caller. Look at Keenan Allen's routes run last year compared to A.J. Brown's. I don't believe that Kellen Moore is 100% in control of this offense, but still, a win is a win. Wasn't pretty, but Eagles advance to 3-2. Browns move to 1-5. Yes, he has to go. I do not believe the Eagles will do anything with Nick Sirianni. I feel like he's holding this team back, and he was chirping at the Eagles fans at the end of the game. That was pretty embarrassing. He's like, "Oh yeah, we have to stay humble." Like it's very Philly. People are complaining about it. It was very Philly, but yes, this team could be a Super Bowl contending team. I don't think they are as of right now. Play calling is just not great. And it's the Browns. You hold them to 16 points. Technically, you only held them to 9 because of the blocked field goal. But it's just a lack of play calling. It concerns me. One of the biggest offensive play calling issues was no routes over the middle, all of the field. And somehow with a new coordinator, we are still not drawing up plays in the middle of the field. follow Underdog Sports. That's Connor Dixon. He's got some Underdogs of the week. Curious to see who it's going to be this week. But, man, like I said earlier, you look at Keenan Allen's routes last year compared to A.J. Brown's this year. It's all on the outside. And I get A.J. Brown is good there. But you have to spread this offense out. Make it unpredictable. Be basic, but you got to make it unpredictable at the same time. How do you do that? I don't know. I'm not an offensive coordinator. That's not my job. I'm not getting paid to do that. Maybe if the Eagles pay me to, I would gladly do it. I'm very good in Madden. So, Eagles, looking for someone, hit me up. I'm right here. But we'll go to the tier list now. For the Eagles, I still think they're a wild card team. They have the talent. Not sold on their defense. Their defense is decent. Nothing more. Their offense is great, but the play calling is not. I don't see them winning more than one playoff game right now. Compared to the other teams in the NFC, I don't see a world where the Eagles are making a deep playoff push as of right now. I could be completely wrong in a couple weeks, and I hope that I am. If you couldn't tell, I am an Eagles fan. So hopefully Eagles can figure it out. But for the Browns, they're in Travis territory. They look pretty awful. That offense looks bad. Ken Dorsey, not a great offensive coordinator. There's a reason the Bills fired him and went on a crazy run last year on offense. Kevin Stefanski's still a great coach, I believe. Their defense it doesn't look bad. Their defense doesn't look terrible. Could be better, but they're in Travis territory. I think he'd be a great pickup for them, honestly, if he goes there. And I don't think Deion's going to let Travis Hunter go to Jacksonville. I don't get that whole thing. He's going to pull an Eli Manning, allegedly, according to Deion. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll let him go to Cleveland, but they look pretty bad. They should switch to Jameis Winston and look to the offseason, look to find someone that can potentially unload that Deshaun contract because it is awful. Next game, and this is the title of the video. Is Baker Mayfield the NFL MVP as of right now? 325 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 51-27 road divisional victory against the New Orleans Saints, who have looked pretty decent this year. What is there to say about Baker Mayfield? He has proved all the haters wrong. If you are still not on the Baker Mayfield train, what are you doing? He balled out against the Eagles, 2 touchdowns for 347 yards. Last week had under 200 yards passing, but he still had 3 touchdowns with no interceptions. I think he's the MVP favorite right now. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 1,489 yards, 71% completion percentage. I think he is at the top of the list right now, along with Jaden Daniels. I think Derrick Henry should be in there. We'll get to him soon. But Bucks, I don't know. We'll get to this because I think the Buccaneers are conference championship contenders. I don't think they are good enough to make it to the Super Bowl as of yet. I'm not completely sold on that defense. Has a lot of question marks, but Sean Tucker and Bucky Irving went ballistic today. Same with Chris Godwin. Sean Tucker, 14 carries, 136 yards and a touchdown. Bucky Irving, 14 carries, 81 yards and a touchdown. And then Chris Godwin, 11 catches, 125 yards and 2 touchdowns. Oh, yeah. And Sean Tucker, he had 3 catches, 56 yards and a touchdown, too. So, Rachaad White, your days are probably numbered. Bucks finally have a good backfield. I'm not a big Rachaad White guy. He was very good last year, but running backs, your careers can go like that. You find a guy like a Sean Tucker that plays this well against New Orleans, who are now 2-4. They started off 2-0. They've lost 4 straight, which is kind of crazy. But Spencer Rattler did look decent, 22 of 40, 243 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. He looked decent. I mean, that's all you can really say. He's not meant to be a starter in this league. Was once a top draft prospect and then went in the later rounds and now finds himself starting for the Saints probably for the next couple of weeks while Derek Carr is hurt. But for the Saints, preseason, I was so low on them. I thought they were going to be a bottom 5 team. Won the first 2 games. They looked like they were the best team in the league, but they've fallen off. It's either mid or not good. I'm going to put them in mid. They still have pieces. That defense is, they gave up 51 points today, but they still have pieces. They have Marshawn Lattimore. They have Cam Jordan, but he's old. They don't really have a great pass rush. They really don't. I don't know. I might put them in not good. Dennis Allen's not a great coach. We'll get into that in a little bit. But where do I put the Saints? For now, I'm going to put them in not good. I can move them up. We shall see. But next game, the Packers just obliterated I almost said the St. Louis Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. Jordan Love is him. I mean, he really is. If he wasn't out for a couple weeks, he'd probably be in the MVP conversation. He'd probably be the favorite for it, honestly. He could honestly still be in it right now with how good he's been. Jonathan Gannon's not a great head coach. I'm fully convinced of that. Cardinals don't look amazing. Kyler Murray didn't have much to work with. Marvin Harrison went out pretty early, so he started feeding Trey McBride, who had 8 catches. But Jordan Love, his ability to spread it out, and this is what the NFL feared. They didn't want him to, or not the NFL, the league wants it, but fans, at least of the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings. They didn't want another Aaron Rodgers. They didn't want another Brett Favre. Sorry, guys. You got another Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers on your hand. You have Jordan Love, who is insane. 2 touchdowns to Romeo Doubs, who was just suspended a week ago for having a frustrated role in the offense. Christian Watson had a deep catch. Jaden Reed, 6 catches, probably their best receiver, but he spreads the ball out, and it's a dangerous thing to do. So Jordan Love should 100% be in the MVP conversation after this week. I still think he needs to play like maybe 2 more games to be qualified, whatever it is for people to start saying that he needs to have whatever. Packers, do I put him? No, I don't think they're cream of the crop just yet, but I do think they have a very good chance at making the conference championship. They look very good. Not even the best team in their division record-wise. They lost the game to the Eagles. Who else did they lose to? I know they beat the Titans because that was the Malik Willis revenge game. They lost to the Vikings. That's right. Because Jordan Love did not look great in that first half. But, I mean, he was balling out in the second half. So, Packers, 100% conference championship contenders. Cardinals are not good. They have pieces. I don't think, like I said, Jonathan Gannon's not a great head coach. He wasn't a great defensive coordinator. So, they're not in Travis territory. They're not that bad at this point in the season. They're just not good. Kyler Murray is underrated. I will stand by that. So, yeah, let's get to the next game. Joe Flacco. He's still doing it. I don't know why Anthony Richardson is still the starting quarterback of this team. He was supposed to start, but he wasn't looking great, they said before, with his shoulder, I believe. And then Joe Flacco comes in. I know it's not an amazing game, but still, this guy's 39 years old, and he's the backup, and he's doing this. I bet you the Browns are wishing they kept him right now because they could use him. And this is without Jonathan Taylor, too. Titans don't look good. Will Levis is a terrible quarterback. I'm sorry. I know he's got all the memes. That's the only thing he's got going good for him right now. He's producing elite memes on Twitter. Tony Pollard looks good for them. But the rest, Calvin Ridley had no catches. He had 8 targets, no catches. But D-Hop, he'll be a good addition for the Kansas City Chiefs at the trade deadline. But let's get to the tier list for the Colts. With Joe Flacco, I could see them being a wild card team, but with Richardson, I just think they're mid. Their defense isn't anything crazy. 3-3 right now. They're in a weak division. Texans are probably running away with that, but Jags aren't great. Titans aren't great. So, yes, Colts are just mid. They don't have anything that stands out. Their best player on defense is out right now. He's on injured reserve. So, for the Titans, they're in Travis territory. As long as Will Levis is their starting quarterback, which it's looking like they're going to keep. I don't know how they haven't benched him yet. He's throwing a pick in almost every game. I don't know. Mason Rudolph looked far superior than Will Levis did. So, yeah, Titans are in Travis territory. They are looking not great. Brian Callahan. Brian Callahan looks like a decent coach so far. Yes, I agree, David. Let Flacco start. They 1,000,000,000,000%. If they want a shot at playoffs, have him start. I was having a conversation with my friend earlier. He made the argument that unless the Colts see themselves as Super Bowl contenders, they should start Richardson no matter what, because if it doesn't really matter if they win a playoff game or not. But I disagree. I think Richardson would learn under Flacco, and I think it would prevent him from being exposed, because he was getting exposed in the first couple games he played. But speaking of the AFC South, Texans beating the Patriots 41-21. Joe Mixon came back today. He looked great. Looked like he never left the field. Drake May, is he the future? I think he could be. He looked really good. They threw him in there against the now 5-1 Houston Texans, a very good defense. And Drake May, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, and he was the leading rusher. I think he's the future. All these rookie quarterbacks looking really good. Vikings struck out, but at least they're undefeated right now. Stephon Diggs with a touchdown, Tank Dell with a touchdown. So CJ Stroud, he's definitely going to be in the MVP conversations. Texans are a dangerous team. So for Houston, I think they're definitely conference championship contenders. I couldn't even put them at super. Honestly, the way they're playing, I'm going to put them in cream of the crop. They're looking very, very, very good. Joe Mixon, probably one of the best free agent signings. Low risk, high reward, and they're getting that high reward. So Texans looking very, very deadly. I always say you need that X factor quarterback to win the Super Bowl, and CJ Stroud is that. So I definitely think they are a cream of the crop. But the Patriots, they're also in Travis territory. They don't have a good team. Drake May looks great. They might win a few games with him, but you have Demario Douglas and Kayshon Boutte as your number one receivers. So I don't think they're really going anywhere with that. Sorry to my 207 gang, but your Patriots stink, and they will maybe end up with Travis Hunter. We'll see what happens for the rest of the year. But talking about another rookie quarterback, it was a good game. I'll give Jaden Daniels that. It was a very good game, but you're going up against the king. Derrick Henry just looks unbelievable. They will never give MVP to a running back ever again, or a non-quarterback. That's just how it is. They designate Offensive Player of the Year to the skill positions, and they leave MVP for the quarterback. They should just rename it Quarterback of the Year, because Derrick Henry right now is probably the most valuable player on that team. He's had a rushing touchdown in all of the games so far, and he had 2 today. 132 yards on 24 carries. Just unbelievable. The whole offense was going crazy. Lamar had 323 yards passing. Zay Flowers, 9 catches, 132 yards. Mark Andrews is he back? Had a catch last week, and now he had a touchdown. So Ravens they're looking good. I know they started off the season slow, but they had a tough schedule. And the Commanders, they're still looking good. They kept it close. They didn't have Brian Robinson, so they weren't really rushing it that much. Eckler didn't look great on the ground, but Austin Eckler's really good in the receiving game. Zach Ertz finally had his breakthrough game with Jaden Daniels, so we'll see if that kicks off. But Terry McLaurin, unmatched chemistry with Jaden Daniels. Again, 269 yards, 2 touchdowns. He is 1,000,000% probably, I don't know if he's the favorite right now. I think it's Baker and then Jaden Daniels. But going to the tier list, the Baltimore Ravens, I still think they are conference championship contenders. Now, hear me out. Lamar has shown us nothing in the playoffs to show that he's going to win. It's the same thing I said with the Phillies the other day. They've shown me nothing, so why should I believe in them? And Lamar, it's the same spiel every time. Lamar is awesome in the regular season, and the Ravens' pass game holds them back from winning. And I just don't see them winning the Super Bowl, but I do see them getting to the conference championship. For the Commanders, I think they're going to be just fine. I think they're going to start to come down to earth a little bit. I do think they're a wild card team. I wouldn't be surprised if they won the NFC East. They do have a pretty easy schedule. I mean, I know the Eagles have statistically the easiest schedule, but Nick Sirianni's their coach, so don't take it to the bank on anything. But Commanders still in it. I think they're going to come back down to earth a little bit. I don't know if they're going to be super competitive, but Dan Quinn is a good coach. I don't know why he was getting so much crap for getting hired. He's a good coach, and he was a great defensive coordinator. That defense looks pretty solid, and that offense looks really good. So don't be surprised if Cliff Kingsbury gets a head coaching job. I didn't say. You didn't hear that from me. But next game, I almost won money. I had a 9-leg parlay, and all I needed was the Broncos to win. And they almost came back. This game was not interesting until the end when they started to make that comeback. Jim Harbaugh was sick at first, but he came back. But I mean, the Chargers are going to win, but they're not going to be flashy. That's the Jim Harbaugh system. You're going to win, get a lot of games, but your stats aren't going to look great. Herbert, 237 yards, a touchdown. J.K. Dobbins, 96 yards and a touchdown. That's Cameron Dicker. That's who I have as the highlighted player because he's one of the better kickers in the league. Bo Nix looks good. I don't know why so many people were against the Broncos taking him. He's finally proving those people wrong. Broncos look like a decent team. I don't think they're going to be anything crazy looking at them now. They have Thursday night against the Saints. Why is that a Thursday night game? I get, it's Sean Payton's return to New Orleans. You have to put that on Thursday Night Football? Primetime games have just been getting worse and worse. And the NFL does the same thing every year. They start off the first 2 or 3 weeks, really good primetime games. And then you have Bengals, Giants on Sunday night. And then the very next week, how do we rebound? You do Saints and Broncos, whatever. I don't get that. But looking at the tier list here, Chargers, I still think they're a wild card team. It's the Jim Harbaugh system. That's the way they operate. They aren't going to win flashy, but they're going to win a lot of games. And for the Broncos, I think they're mid. Their defense is really good, one of the best ones in the league, but still a lot of work to do, especially on their offense. Don't think they're going to make a playoff push. They might. I mean, they're 3-3. They're 500, but I just think they're mid. I don't see anything that pops my eyes except for maybe the defense. But nonetheless, Chargers get it done. Steelers looking good. I gotta say, people were expecting maybe Russell Wilson to take over if Justin Fields was struggling, but Justin Fields, he had a good game. He had a good game, but Najee Harris was the story. Had that really long touchdown, 18 carries, 106 yards. How long was that? Was that 36 yards, but it looked way better. It looked like a Derrick Henry kind of run, but Fields had 2 rushing touchdowns, so got it done. 9 incompletions, 145 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. George Pickens had 3 catches. Not really anything crazy. Raiders stink. They're absolutely dog water. And the Steelers, they're a Mike Tomlin team, so they're always going to be decent. So getting here, Pittsburgh, they're a wild card team. They are nowhere in between. They are strictly right there in the wild card. They will be the 7th seed, and maybe they may even no, they're not going to win the division. They're going to make the wild card game, and they're going to lose the first game. It's the same old story with Mike Tomlin the last few years. The Steelers do way better than anybody thinks they are going to be, better than they should be, and then they get blown out in the wild card game. So, especially with Justin Fields, he's a good regular season quarterback. What has he done in the playoffs? Hasn't done anything yet. But he hasn't also been there because he was on the pretty awful Bears teams. But Raiders are Travis territory. This is probably the last Travis territory team looking at it. Maybe the Rams. I don't think the Rams are that low, but the Raiders look terrible. No Devontae Adams still. Now there's a report saying that he might stay because he's a fan of Aiden O'Connell. So he have beef with Minshew? I don't know. Still think they should try to trade him, but apparently not a lot of teams are very enamored with trading him. They don't want to give up a 2nd-round pick. But the rush game looks terrible. Madison, he gets touchdowns, but he doesn't get many yards. Same thing with Zamir White. You're relying on Madison, Amir Abdullah, and Zamir White as your lead rushers. That's a recipe for disaster. Brock Bowers, one of the best tight ends in the league already, that we knew. But yeah, this team is just awful. They're 2-4. I'm surprised they're not winless. So we'll see where they go from here. But this was a close game at first. And we did have Bijan Robinson up here. He got out carried by Tyler Algier, which, I mean, they won. And they won by, 18? So I guess it worked out well for them. But don't know why Bijan Robinson is getting out carried by Tyler Algier. The rushing attack killed the Panthers. Andy Dalton had some dumb interceptions. Chuba Hubbard looks really good. Deontay Johnson looks really good still. But the rush defense, man. The Panthers just could not stop Algier and Robinson. Algier 18 for 105 at a touchdown. And then you see Bijan's stat line there. Drake London continuing his breakout year. Another touchdown along with 74 yards. So Drake London is here. And the Falcons are looking pretty decent. For the tier list, I'm going to put them wild card. It's Kirk Cousins. I don't see him going that far in the playoffs. I mean, he's doing better in primetime this year, so maybe they're up here, but I don't think they're going to be that. Let's not get too carried away, but Panthers are just not good. I wouldn't put them in Travis territory. Maybe they should, but I'm going to limit that to 5. They're just not good. They have a lot of work to do. More pieces on the defense. They lost Brian. I don't get why they still made that Brian Burns trade. They should have kept him, but Brian Burns on the Giants now. I don't know what that score is. We'll get into that soon, but this one. Oh, baby. The Detroit Lions, they massacred the Dallas Cowboys 47-9. 47-9. It's the worst Cowboys loss since 2010. It was a beatdown, and it was glorious to watch. Dak had 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. I don't know. Rico, I guess they just got down so early they weren't running it because Rico Dowdell, 5 carries. Zeke Elliott, 8 carries. So their top 2 guys they didn't really utilize. And they brought in Cooper Rush at the end of the game. He had a pick too, but David Montgomery, 2 touchdowns. He's a dog. Jameson Williams, fantasy stud, has another long touchdown. Long, it was 30-something yards, but he's getting those touchdowns. He's been getting them. Sam Laporta, a 52-yard touchdown, only catch of the day, but still, you like to see something from him. But big story coming out of this, Aiden Hutchinson broke his tibia. Pretty gruesome injury, so be warned if you watch that video. It's pretty hard to watch. His leg is, I don't even want to explain it, making me cringe, but it's tough because he was probably the defensive player of the year right now in a stacked Lions defense, but now he's out for the year. They said he should be back for 2025, but a huge loss for them. One of the best pass rushers in the entire league. Detroit's 4-1 now, though. Dallas is 3-3. We go to the tier list. I still think the Lions are the favorite in the NFC. I don't care if the Vikings are the number 1 seed. I don't care. The Lions should 100% be the favorite in the NFC right now. I mean, Jared Goff looks great this year. I mean, starting to finally turn it up. They're finally utilizing Jameson Williams, so where Amon-Ra St. Brown doesn't have to have a huge game. Their running attack should be scary for every team because Montgomery and Gibbs, no team has stopped that yet so far this season. So teams need to figure out a way to stop them, or the Lions are going to have a cakewalk to the Super Bowl with the offense they have and with that stacked defense. But Cowboys, do I dare put them in mid? Are they that bad? Their running backs are pretty bad. Rico Dowdell's not terrible, but Zeke is. Brandon Cooks has been out. Do I put them in wild card still? No, I think the defense just doesn't look good. They don't look good. I don't think McCarthy's lasting that long. So, yeah, I'm going to leave them in mid. It could be the Eagles bias here, but I try to be as non-biased as I can on here. I don't think the Cowboys are that great. Dak is Dak. Dak is a good regular season quarterback. So, I don't know. I could be eating my words in a couple weeks. Dallas could win out, but we'll see. But right now, got to update this because Bengals are tied with the Giants, 7-7. Stinker. Absolute stinker. I know the NFL is trying to flex this out. They're trying to take one of the CBS games, put it on Sunday Night Football, but this game is not good so far. Joe Burrow, 157 yards. The only touchdown is the Joe Burrow, 50-yard rushing touchdown. Looked like Vanilla Vic out there. 47 yards. The only exciting play of the game, really. That's all I can say about this game is Joe Burrow's Vanilla Vic. Danny Dimes, he looks okay. He doesn't look great. He looks okay. I mean, that's the story of Daniel Jones. He gets overhated. They are in the goal line right now, though, hoping that they don't score a touchdown because I have Evan McPherson. Need him to get some field goals. So hopefully they kick a field goal here. But going here, I guess we'll just do it. Bengals are, you see their offense, they should be up here, but their defense is all the way down here. So leave them at mid. But if they lose to the Giants, we'll put them in not good. Their offense is too good. They have Jamar Chase is a top 3 receiver. Joe Burrow is a top 3 quarterback. But Zach Taylor is probably the worst coach in the league right now. Him and Sirianni are fighting for that. But put them in mid just because of how good that offense is. And the Giants, they've looked better. At first, they looked pretty awful. But they've looked better. I don't know if I consider them mid. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best defensive players in the league, probably the best, at least D lineman, but I'm just not enamored by them. Put them in not good. I don't think they're that good, but if they beat the Bengals, you could put it there, you could put it here. I don't know. So for now, I'm just going to leave them in here because the Giants are 2-3. They look decent. Daniel Jones has looked decent in the last couple of weeks, and he looks okay so far. Okay. Was it 2nd and goal still? T. Higgins for 1 yard. Just kick the field goal. Get Evan McPherson out there. I don't care if it's 3rd down. I need fantasy points. Don't they know I need fantasy points? What are they doing? Call up Zach Taylor. But Bills Jets are tomorrow. It's the first game for the Jets since they fired Robert Saleh. Very shocked he got fired in the first place. I'm even more shocked that he was the first coach fired. But Jets right now are mid. Their defense is really good, but their offense isn't great. They should be doing anything they can to get Devontae Adams, so that way the teams double him, get Garrett Wilson some action, and you have Allen Lazard who's been balling out. Maybe that opens the door for Breece Hall. So Jets should be throwing whatever they can at the Raiders for Devontae Adams. You already have that chemistry. You see how it's working out with Allen Lazard, doing really well. So now bringing Adams, he's still going to beat that double coverage. And then you have Garrett Wilson in single coverage, opens it up so much for him with a decent defense. Or not decent defense, a terrific defense. And they might even get Hassan Reddick back. Who knows? I saw someone hired goons to threaten him. I don't know if that's real. This is allegedly. I don't want to get sued for anything. I'm not spreading any misinformation. I saw I don't know if it's true or not, but if that's true, that's pretty insane. I know you still could hire goons to threaten people, but the Bills, they were looking up here. But recently, they've been looking down here. I'm still going to put them in conference championship contenders. I still think they're really good. I think they could be in the Devontae Adams sweepstakes. I don't think they will. They don't show a ton of impact on the wide receiver market. They just traded Stephon Diggs. I don't know if they want to get another superstar wide receiver, have to deal with that drama. But Devontae Adams is a pretty drama-free kind of guy. So I don't think they would have to worry about that. But then you got the 4 teams on their bye. Chiefs, undefeated, Super Bowl contenders, Super Bowl favorites. They're going for the 3-peat. And I think it's going to happen. I predicted it before the regular season. And I still think it's going to happen. I know they lost Pacheco. They lost Rashee Rice for the year. They're going to get someone. They're going to get D-Hop. They're going to get Devon. I don't think they're going to get Devontae, but they're going to get somebody to boost that receiving room. And they're going to get Pacheco back eventually, probably. So defense is phenomenal. Spagnuolo and Andy Reid, probably the best coaching duo in the league, maybe in league history. But yeah, there's not much to say about the Chiefs besides they're the best team in the NFL. Rams aren't good. I predicted this. Hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. They're just injury prone. Their top 2 receivers, who are top 10 receivers, are out. There's no timetable for them. Cooper Kupp could be back within the next couple weeks, but Stafford's old and their offensive line is hurt and not good. So he's been getting sacked a ton. Defense looks decent. I think they should just tank for the rest of the year. I don't think they really have a shot at playoffs. Even if they do make it, I don't think they're going to make it far. I think they would get blown out in game 1, no matter how hot they get. But yeah, Rams are just not good. Dolphins. Where do we put the Dolphins? And with Tua, they were probably a conference championship contender. But I'm going to have them in mid because right now, Tyler Huntley's their starting quarterback. They don't look good. They don't look like they know how to utilize Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So it's just without that quarterback, it's crazy how much of an impact Tua has. Because even Devon Achane was averaging probably one of the best numbers in the league, and then Tua goes down and he's averaging 2 yards carry. So yeah, Dolphins right now are mid. I don't know when Tua is going to come back, but if he does, I think they're conference championship contenders. I really do. But for now, very questionable doubts about Tua coming back. So mid. And the Vikings, put them in Super Bowl. They're undefeated. They're the last or not the last, but last in the NFC. Do I really think that Sam Darnold is the quarterback of a Super Bowl contending team? No. They're going to come back down to earth. They don't forget they went 5-0, 6-0 a couple years ago, 2016. That wasn't a couple years ago. I was in middle school still. But no. They're going to come back down to earth. I still think Sam Darnold's good. Jefferson is the best receiver in the league. Argue with a wall if you don't think that. But I don't think that they're going to make it too far. They're not a Super Bowl contender. There's no way. No. Their defense looks really good, though. Brian Flores is probably going to be a head coach next year. But Vikings, I can't put them in Super Bowl. I can't. Unless if they go 10-0, yeah, maybe. But no. I am not going to say that Sam Darnold is a quarterback on a Super Bowl winning team. You need to have an X factor quarterback. And I don't think he's that yet. He could be. But so, yeah, this is the post week 6 rankings. Again, these could change. Let's see. Did Evan McPherson kick a field goal? He did. Yes. 37 yards. Perfect. I need more. So how many points am I down? I am down a lot. I got unlucky this week. Down about 30 points, 35 points. And I have McPherson. But then I have Lazard, Kincaid, and Cook tomorrow. So we'll see. Probably not going to win, but, it is what it is. So this is the Fresh Slate's NFL Week 6 rankings. Again, these could change based on the game. So this leads us to our next tier list. Real quick, just going to go over it real quick because I don't want to be on here for too long. Don't want to take up too much of your time. But let's share the screen, Chrome tab. We did this in the preseason video. If you saw it, predicted how likely I thought it would be that these people were fired. 1 for 1 kind of so far. Robert Saleh, I had him warm, and he was fired. So, yeah, kind of shocked. I'm still shocked. But Doug Peterson's probably going to be the next person gone. But if the Bengals lose tonight, I could 100% see it be Zach Taylor. Dennis Allen, he's more of an end-of-the-year kind of firing. They started off really good, but they've lost 4 straight. So this very well could be a thing. Eberflus, I think he's safe now. He's 4-2. Defense looks really good. Offense looks fine. McCarthy, I could see it happening. Sirianni's on the hot seat. So if I could switch anything, I'd put Sirianni here, and I'd move Eberflus down to probably room temp because it's still early. But let's adjust this a little bit. McDermott, yeah, they've looked a little questionable the last couple of weeks, so I could see them maybe falling off and moving on, even though I think he's one of the better coaches in the league. Chile, again, I said that Sean McVay and Mike Tomlin will never be fired from their teams, but they could leave. Do what Bill Belichick, what Sean Payton did. They just take a year off. Excuse me. What Doug Peterson did too. So I think that could happen, especially McVay. Wouldn't be surprised if he left coaching altogether and he went to media. He's been scouted for years. People have been trying to get him in media for years. And he'd be a really good guy. As long as he keep him under wraps with how much he talks, because he is a football nerd. He is awesome to listen to, but he can ramble for hours. So right tools, he'll be great. I think Gannon moves up to room temperature. He's just not a great coach. Cardinals don't look any better than they did last year, and they look better than most people thought they were going to. So leave him there. What else? Antonio Pierce, the Raiders look awful. So maybe Pierce is in room temperature now. Because they said Max Crosby said if he wasn't named head coach, he would request a trade. But I don't know, maybe the Raiders trade him. I don't think they will, but maybe they're so desperate that they will. O'Connell, I think he goes in the freezing cold. They've had such a great start. Unless they collapse, I don't think they're going to. Like I said, I think they're going to come down to earth. I don't think they're going to completely collapse, but I think he's safe. McDaniel, can't really fault him with a Tua injury, but at the same time, maybe. But he just got extended. He physically cannot be fired until next year at the earliest. Stefanski, I know the Browns look awful, but he's a 2-time Coach of the Year winner. He just won the award last year. Dealt with 7 different starting quarterbacks. So I don't think he's going to get fired. He shouldn't be. Oh man, Harbaugh, no. Steichen, no. Yeah, so I'm fine with this list. Maybe Callahan. Out of any of the rookie head coaches, Callahan is the most likely to get fired. I said that in the preseason too. Don't think it's going to happen. I think just Will Levis is not a good quarterback, and I think he should make a change. Not much you can do when he's your quarterback. So yeah, official updated fresh slate. NFL Week 6, NFL hot seat. Rank this. Zach Taylor, number 1. Because if they lose tonight, I think there's a good chance. You lose to the Giants, primetime. But Shad Khan said he was happy with Doug and Trent. I don't know how you can be. That's probably just owner talk. Wait. We got to make a new tier. Or should we do it at the top? Let's do it at the top. Adro above, black. Oh, I don't like when dang it. Gotta readjust this. July, Florida. If you have been to Florida in July, it is hot. So hoping if anybody's watching from Florida, hope you didn't get hit hard by Hurricane Milton. That's a scary thing. The entire roof of Tropicana Field came off, and they were using it as a shelter for first responders. So prayers out to Tampa and the entire Florida area. Just hope any of the viewers and anyone in general just didn't get hit with that, because hurricanes are tough. That could destroy your homes, and it could take years to rebuild. So just praying for all the families down there. So back to this. Fired. Greg just can't really see it. Robert Saleh, first on the list. We're going to update this next week. We could have. I don't think Doug's going to get fired till after next week, just because they're in London again. So I think that would be a little difficult, a little awkward. Maybe after tonight, maybe after next week. I don't know. We'll check back in next week. So yes, this is the NFL Week 6 fresh slate head coaching hot seat. So yeah, that's the football portion of this. Mets and Dodgers are playing right now. It was 5-0 Dodgers last time I checked, but I've been on here for about an hour. It's 6-0 in the top of the 8th. Maybe Shohei Ohtani was what the Dodgers were missing. Mets, thank you for going cold with your bats. Really would have appreciated that last game. I mean, Jack Flaherty shut them down. You see what happens when a team has a competent offense in the playoffs that supports their pitcher who pitches a gem in Game 1 against the Mets. I'm a Phillies fan, so I wouldn't know that. So Dodgers are probably going to go up 1-0, but again, the Mets are the best 8th and 9th inning team in probably league history. So we'll see if they potentially make a comeback. And tomorrow, Guardians, Yankees, it is ALCS Game 1. I don't know who's. I think Carlos Rodon is starting for the Yankees. Garrett Cole's starting in Game 2. Who's starting for the Guardians? Alex Cobb. That's insane. That's insane. Alex Cobb is starting Game 1 of the League Championship Series. We are, well, I guess now 4, but I don't like the Dodgers, and I like the Guardians. I am rooting for both of those teams. If it's a Subway Series, I'm deleting Twitter. I'm staying off of social media probably for 20 years until Yankees fans stop clamoring about that one time they made the World Series. So let's go Guardians. NHL season. tipped off, puck dropped. I don't know. It dropped off. I don't even know what pun you would use for there. Look at the standings. Who's undefeated so far? Is there anybody that's undefeated? Stars, Jets, Utah's undefeated. This is my first time looking at the standings. The Utah Hockey Club. We had the Washington football team, and now we have the Utah Hockey Club. Genius move by them. I know people hate them for the whole thing with Arizona was a whole catastrophe. They should have never left in the first place, but they moved. Deal with it. So they didn't name the team. They just named it the Utah Hockey Club. It's going to be different next year, and it's genius because you have a whole new fan base. They're going to buy all the Utah Hockey Club jerseys. And what's going to happen next year? They're going to buy all the Yeti jerseys because it's going to be the Utah Yeti. I feel like we all know that. That's the most popular name. Happened with Seattle. Everybody wanted it to be Kraken. And what happened? It was Kraken. And now everybody wants it to be the Yeti. I guarantee you it's going to be the Yeti. So Utah, 3-0. That whole NHL blackout thing is a joke, though. People in Arizona can't watch it because it's considered a local team. Come on. You screwed over Arizona with the hockey enough. Just let them watch the team. Let them watch the team. But Vegas and Calgary are undefeated. Only 2 games. I saw a little bit of Calgary last night. They were playing the Flyers, who are 1-1. Matvei Michkov and Jet Luchenko could be the future. They are the future. Future is here. But favorites in the NBA right now, I'm not going to do another tier list. I'm just going to name who I think the favorites are. In the East, obviously, Boston. They just won the title. No reason that they shouldn't be the number 1 favorites going in. They're dominant. They didn't lose anybody big. They have the same team. It's hard in this day and age to go back-to-back in basketball, but I still think they should be the favorites. Sixers, no, you upgrade Paul George from Tobias Harris. Huge upgrade. Don't get me wrong. Huge, but still, it is the 76ers. I don't trust them. Who else in the East do I? Knicks. I don't know. I hated that Karl Anthony Towns trade. I really did. DiVincenzo was a great fit. Great guy off the bench. Clutch shots in the playoffs. You trade him. I get the Randall. Getting rid of Randall is fine, but getting rid of DiVincenzo for Cat. I know they needed a big man. Mitch Robinson's going to be out. Hartenstein signed with the Thunder. So you needed a big man. I just don't know if I like it being Cat because he's so expensive. He's not the same Cat that we know. So they're still going to be a top 3 team. They're probably going to be the number 2 seed. I wouldn't be surprised if they were the number 1 seed. Just playoffs. I don't know. Who else? There's always the Bucks. Doc Rivers is their coach. They are not winning a championship. Doc Rivers is the most overrated coach in league history. Didn't do jack with the Clippers. Didn't do it with the Sixers. And ruined the Bucks last year. The Bucks were the 2 seed at one point. And then Doc came in and they had a losing record. So it's Doc Rivers' effect. They're not going to be anything good. Pacers are a sneaky team. Conference finals appearance this year. Or last year, whatever you want to consider it. They're the only other team I see making it there. There's always going to be a surprise team. Maybe it's Cleveland. Maybe it's Orlando. But right now, Philly, Boston, New York, the only 3 teams I see making it out of the East as of this moment. But for the West, OKC, 1 seed last year. You add Alex Caruso. You add Isaiah Hartenstein. You bring back all your role players. They're only going to get better. Shea is my MVP pick as of right now. It's either him or Luka, but OKC, number 1. Number 2, what? I just lost it. Denver. Denver has Jokic, best player in the NBA. Don't care. By far the best player. You add Russ. I don't think they're good. I mean, if they didn't have Jokic, they would not be good. This is simple. Jamal Murray is better than what most people thought. He proved a lot of people wrong in the playoffs. He's a playoff hooper. So I think them, Thunder, and then the Mavs. Mavs just made the finals. Had a Klay Thompson this year, so they have Kyrie, Luka, and Klay Thompson. I know he's not the same Klay we all know, but still, he's a pretty effective shooter. So, yeah, I think those are the only 3 teams. Minnesota, I don't like Randall. I'm not a big Julius Randall guy. I don't know if he really fits them all that much. So what's their lineup now? Mike Conley, Ant, Jalen McDaniels, Julius Randall, and Rudy Gobert. I don't know. That's not a finals team, but I don't know. There's always that one underdog team. You saw it with the Mavs. You saw it with the Miami Heat. And yeah, I think Kevin Durant could be traded. That's a hot take. If the Suns fall down, I think he'll get traded again. I don't know if that's going to be an offseason thing. I could see it being a Houston. I feel like they're the favorites for him right now. I could also see it being OKC. Maybe a reunion there. I know he had that falling out. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that's going to do it. Talked about the NFL. Talked about the NLCS and ALCS. Talked about the NHL. Touched on NBA. Real quick, before we get out, let's see what the Bengals score is. 10-7 still. Bengals ball. Where do they have it? First and 10 on the 44 of the Giants. So they're not in the red zone yet. They're close. A stinker game. Boston Connor, if you watched Pat McAfee show, he was pissed that this was the Sunday night game, and rightfully so, because this game is pretty brutal. So that's going to do it. 9 minutes and 52 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So make sure you are checking that out, I guess. Make sure you're not I guess put it on. You want to fall asleep for work tomorrow. Nice white noise there. You can listen to Chris Collingsworth glaze over every player there is on the field. Now, here's a guy. But thank you so much for tuning in. First episode of the Fresh Slate. Possibly going to do this every Sunday. Got to confirm it with the man, Tony Cotillo. Make sure you're checking out his stuff that he does every football game, Thursday night football props, Sunday night props. See if he does Monday night props tomorrow. So make sure you are checking him out, hitting the bets, hitting the win daily. You see that on the ticker. Use promo code Jigsaw. 75% off your yearly membership. Great value. It's good until tomorrow, so make sure you are getting that then. So again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Hopefully this is the start of something special. I got some major things planned for this show. This is just the beginning, and I'm glad you're along for the ride. So have a good night, everyone. And as always, stay fresh, my friends.